important to have that. And so that this is something you can actually do that makes a difference in people's lives, and it makes it very, very quickly. Because if you don't do this, they're working with a lot of idling neurons that can be rebooted. Right? And if you reboot those idling neurons, if it's included as part of the circuit, and particularly if you move chi as part of the circuit, that you'll find that often you'll get major functions coming back. So this has been a breakthrough in understanding, both why we have soft neurological symptoms and some of the things you can do about it. Now, they don't know that you can do kinesiology, and they don't know we can access directly, and that we can then do some, neurovasculars and various things to actually change that. That's not part of the Western understanding, but it's part of your understanding. It's just knowing that this is there and capable, and it's just as simple as you have something in circuit, particularly if it's a brain or if it's a function, check SIPs. If it changes, check GV44. It changes again. Put that in circuit, because now you're putting the oxygen stress as part of the circuit that you're doing. All right? So you're adding this, and if it doesn't show, well, there's no oxygen stress in that circuit. But I check it all the time now, because I used to think when people had hypoxic injury, well, then I would check it with them all the time. But normal people, I wouldn't check it like that, right? I would only, but now I found out it shows so much more than I ever thought. And it's because it's so much more complex than we thought. We used to think it was, yep.
Would checking the carotid oxygen sensors accomplish the same thing?
Not of neurotransmitting again. Right now they're not. Once they're rebooted and they start firing, they become reintegrated back into functional circuits, and you get amazing recovery. That does not seem possible, And it's a, so it should be the hypoxia thing. It should have a power put in it. I meant to put that in, but it was started my computer.
The one that says recover.
Charles, with the astrocytic scar tissue,
Yep.
that could form in the spinal column as well.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So it could be anywhere within the neural tube.
Yep. Anywhere in the central nervous system.
Okay.
Yep. In fact, that's what I have. I have a lot of that in my upper cervical spine and my lumbar spine.
So we just need to know
No,
where-
I don't
Okay, so now we just got to move along. This is the one we're supposed to do.
So the idling neurons could appear
Just click,
anywhere.
maybe can you go down with the whole, it's going to take a long time to, we got a long way to go. No, I'm going to go to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so acupressure moving chi will reboot these idling neurons. Now, this is, I've talked to you guys, I call the work I do now, the overall work, acuneurosync, because it has to do with hormones and allergies and skeletal muscular problems. LEAP is the learning part of that, right? LEAP was what I started with, but it spread out to a lot, so I call the whole body of work acuneurosync, because it's resynchronizing neurology with acupressure. So that's why I call it that. And so there's indicator points for this. This came from his work, from Ian Southern's work, stress indicator points. And acupressure formats came from Richard Utt. This concept that you could use mudras and acupoints together is a unique idea never thought of before, Richard. Right? It's a contribution that's made all of the work with the brain possible. Because you can't just use simple points. You have to be able to ask complex electromagnetic questions. And with a number of acupoints, a number of mudras, you can ask very complex electromagnetic questions. And so the acupressure format activates a combination of acupoints with mudras, and what this does is it gives you a complex energetic pattern. That resonance pattern, what Richard did is find out by using histology slides and using feedback, biofeedback, muscle testing, what particular frequency resonance pattern matches the amygdala, matches the frontal cortex, matches this area of the brain, matches this pathway. And so once he had that match from biofeedback, he could then say, is there stress in that area? Because that combination, that normal activity of that particular part of the brain creates a specific and constant, resonance pattern, energetic resonance pattern. If the mudra makes a coherent resonance pattern. So if you create both of them and there's no stress, there's no interaction, there's no change of the indicator. But if the brain area has disruption of neuronal flow, it makes its resonance pattern incoherent. Now you have the coherent format in the incoherent brain signal, and that gives an indicator change. So you can say, oh, that brain area has a stress. right? Incredibly brilliant way of thinking things.